Hello, guys, and welcome to the Marigold Standard, your weekly audio source of all things Dream Star Fighting Marigold. I'm your host, Rob Goodwin, and I'm joined as ever by the calm in the storm that is Mr. Matt Turner. Matt Turner, 2 days of my internet trying its best to push me over the edge. Shall we see what today brings?
See what happens, buddy. It's a new day. Yes, it is, my friend. Yes, it is. But yeah, obviously we recorded the Stardom Cast yesterday, and we had to reset your router a few times. But you did a phenomenal job editing that, if I do say so myself, sir. So we'll see how this one goes. We are about 63 seconds in, and so far so good. But we'll
Absolutely.
see what happens on this beautiful, beautiful, blessed day, my friend.
Absolutely. It did try its best during the Stardom cast yesterday. I just apparently can't open any other tabs. So yeah, if we need anything researching, I can't do it because
I got it.
it'll destroy my computer. But otherwise, good sir, how are you? I believe you're busy tonight. What is on the docket for you post Marigold Standard?
Well, it's a Friday, so it's not a school night. As we're recording, this is on a Friday. So myself and my wife are going out with my sister-in-law and her boyfriend to some brewery. Some brewery they wanted to go to. So I was like, sure, absolutely. It's not a school night. They tried to get me out the previous night. I was like, no, I got to be up early. Be up at 4 a.m. There's no way. Myself and Rob we're gonna go a long time talking about one subject, Utami Hayashista, which did go long. I knew it was coming and it happened, and I thought it was fantastic. So I was like, yes, I can go out on Friday night. I'm allowed out. I'm allowing myself out. So that's what we got going on. I did tell my wife it's just gorgeous out. When I came home, Amber's outside hosing off our back patio. She's putting all the furniture up. So I told her, I said, I just need to know how long I have to record. So she said, here's the time we're leaving. I said, I'll give me about 2 hours and change to record. I did tell her, I warned her. I just want to let you know, I'm going to look extra handsome today. And the look I got, Rob, the look I got the evil eye.
Wow.
Yes, it's rightfully so. So we'll find out. We're going to find out. Maybe I'll take a picture and post it online. You folks can vote if I look extra handsome on Friday night date night here in northeastern Pennsylvania.
I can't possibly see how you wouldn't be, if I'm being perfectly honest.
I'm going to wear this shirt. I'm going to wear my Mayu shirt I got in Japan. I think that's what I'm going to do.
I mean, I can't think of any better way to paint the town red on a Friday night than with the icon of Joshi Pro Wrestling. We are going to be talking about Mayu today, as well as a whole host of topics to do with Marigold, because it does feel, my friend, like it's been a while. It's been a minute since we've talked about some Marigold, and as usual, lots and lots and lots of things have happened. So we're going to be talking a lot about, obviously, the unfortunate injuries, the more injuries that have befallen Marigold. We're also going to be talking about the update on Mayu Utami, where she stands as champion as well. We're going to be talking about some of the stuff on Monday Magic. Some stuff to do with Naoya Shikara and Yuki Yamazaki wrestling on a race course for Big Japan. I am going to sneeze. I apologize. Wait for it.
Race course.
Am I going to?
You don't look at the light. If you look at the light, it'll help you sneeze.
I don't know. No, because if I sneeze, I never sneeze once. It's a constant thing.
That's right.
I will sneeze more than once. I will sneeze like 4 or 5 times. But I've managed to suck it back into my head. It's all good. It's all good.
So sexy. It's like a Mariah match. You're not going to get just one lariat.
No, absolutely not. But yeah, we are also going to talk about, like I say, Naoya Shikara and Yuki Yamazaki wrestling in the middle of a race course. We've also got a card update for the 176 box in Osaka. And obviously, the main point of today's episode, we're going to be talking about Shine Forever and the show in Shinjuku Face. Oh, it's hay fever season, ladies and gentlemen. It's hay fever season. As well as, of course, the update that Utami has, in fact, turned up in Stardom.
There it is.
There we go.
That's one. Under over. Like the Sherry Kyoto Katatsu match. Under over on kicks.
Right, quick.
He's getting a little juice.
You're welcome, headphone users. Yeah, we're also obviously going to talk about Utami. We did talk about her quite a lot on
That's two. Two.
um, uh, yesterday. So from a Stardom aspect, Rossi has had his say on Utami, raised an interesting point as well, which I want to talk about. And obviously, we're going to talk about the Utami situation from Marigold standpoint, as they
It's
three.
three.
As they stand on quite an interesting sort of point. We've got obviously the show from Shinjuku, which is the lowest
Four.
Shinjuku face show for Marigold, obviously coming off the back of Korakuen, which was the lowest attended Korakuen, and Ota Ward, which was the lowest attended Ota Ward show. Marigold have obviously got half of a roster, half of an active roster injured. We need to see where this leaves them, what this impact of Utami leaving is going to, and also if Rossi has a point with what he said. Bless me. And again, will continue. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. Again, hay fever havers.
Sure. Oh.
You know the pain. But let's kick straight into it. We are going to start with some really unfortunate news for Seri Yamaoka, who unfortunately, during the main event of the Shinjuku Face Show on the 28th of May, was defending the British Empire Wrestling Women's Championship for the first time against Maddie Morgan. Unfortunately, while performing a dropkick in the ring, she's landed funny and has dislocated her shoulder. Tried to pop it back in, which is just a level of sort of pain threshold that I just don't have at all, and I don't understand. I mean, credit to Seri, that's incredible. But the referee made the call to call the match, which was absolutely the right decision. Maddie Morgan was awarded the championship. And I will just say credit to Maddie Morgan, who made sure that Seri was okay before she did any sort of talking to the crowd or receiving of the belt. She was with Seri the entire time. Seri then did her post-match backstage with literally her shoulder hanging out. She's posted to social media that this is an issue she had in high school when she was doing her amateur wrestling. Her shoulders used to pop out, but she refused to go for surgery. Obviously, we don't know where that stands at the time of recording in terms of surgery, in terms of what she's going to need, what is going to happen, how long she is out. The most important thing, more than anything else in the world, is that Seri is safe. Seri is happy. We wish her a speedy recovery and a quick return to the ring when she is fit and ready, because good God, is she a talented wrestler. I know that she'd been getting a couple of people online. There's always a couple of dicks online saying if she can't perform a dropkick, what's she doing in the ring? And again, I know that it's a couple of trolls, and you shouldn't really give them the airtime, to be perfectly honest. But if Seri's felt like she needs to come out on social media and sort of say, look, accidents happen, just don't be a dick. Again, social media can be a wonderful thing. It can also be an absolute poisonous cesspit. So don't be a dick. Don't make someone's day worse for no reason. She's injured. She's dislocated her shoulder. The chances are she's going to be out for a bit. She probably feels a bit like crap. Certainly doesn't need anyone else jumping on her on social media. And again, wrestling is unfortunately one of those things, and we've seen it time and time again. And I keep bringing it back to the Natsuko Tora one from July 21, when she just stepped off the apron and completely blew a knee out and was out for like almost 2 years. So, again, unfortunately, it's the innocuous things that often are the worst. Mayu Otani actually came out on social media as well in support of Seri and said, look, I've been in that exact same position, having to vacate or having to lose a match because of an injury, and obviously referencing that the World of Stardom Championship match with Toni Storm when she dislocated her elbow. And obviously the picture we've got on screen now is her backstage with her and just being very, very supportive. And something that I do really love about Marigold, and the culture they have backstage is all the wrestlers are clearly very, very, very close, very, very protective of one another. And obviously that's going to help Seri a considerable amount. Before we talk about the wider impact on Marigold, because obviously we have another injury to talk about, though thankfully not as severe as this one. It's awful for Seri. It's a move she performs at least twice every single match. It wasn't her missile variation. It wasn't the slingshot variation. It was just her standard dropkick in the ring, and it's just how she's landed. And you could tell straight away that she was in trouble, Matt.
Yeah, I didn't see the match. I did see the clip. I just happened to scroll through and on social media and saw. I have, and you know this, buddy, that if I know there's a match where somebody gets injured, I don't watch it. I just, out of respect for the wrestlers, I don't watch it. I've never seen the Hayabusa injury. I never want to see it. I just never watch it. So I didn't see it. So obviously, when we get to the part of the review of that, we're just gonna kind of, we already talked about, and that's that. I will say this: looking at this picture here, you can just see the concern in Mayu's eyes. Like, just really, Mayu, like the big sister figure here in Marigold. I know Sari put something on social media just a few hours ago, my friend, saying that the doctors are saying she's going to have to require surgery, and I think she's looking to try. I could have this wrong. She's looking to try to get a second opinion, because if she has shoulder surgery, that could be 6 to 10 months that she's out. So I mean, that means won't be back until the end of this year, beginning of next year. If that's the way it goes, I mean, who knows? I mean, she could be like Super Cena and come back in like 3-4 weeks.
Fingers crossed.
But yeah, it's just terrible that it happened in the main event, a rematch of what was a really great match we saw about 4 or 5 weeks ago with Sari and Maddie Morgan not that long ago. So it was a match I was really looking forward to. And again, thanks to everybody that told me, hey, this is what happened. I'm like, good, I will steer clear. Again, I just don't watch matches where a wrestler gets injured. I don't want to watch it. Again, it's out of the respect for the wrestler. So we wish nothing but the best for Sari and a speedy recovery. And again, we'll keep everybody updated on the ongoings of one fantastic wrestler that is Sari Yamaoka.
Yeah, and obviously that is the main thing, more than the wider impact on Marigold, more than, anything to do with the British Empire Women's Championship, anything, that it's the safety and the well-being of Sari Yamaoka. And obviously, we might as well sort of get straight back into another injury, unfortunately, which is that of Koki Amare, who received a head injury during Shine Forever. And, anyone that's seen just the still images has seen the blood in her hair. And she is also out until the start of June. I believe just as a precaution. She did say that there'd been no more bleeding. She wasn't dizzy or anything like that, but Marigold have done the exact right thing and have obeyed the concussion protocol, because it looked quite a nasty cut. And I don't know if it was just because it's on the head and the head bleeds more, and obviously, with it being blonde as well, it looked quite bad. But irrelevant of that, if it's a head injury, you need to take precautions. Thankfully, she's not out for long. She obviously wasn't on the Shinjuku face card. She's not on the Osaka 176 box card either. But yes, even though it is a shorter term injury, we obviously still wish Koki the best. Hopefully she recovers. Hopefully it's all fine. Hopefully we see her back in the ring, because her and Chikagoto, new twin star champions, and, a great feel-good moment coming out of Shine Forever, which we're going to be talking about a little bit later on. But obviously, the big thing is now the list of injuries for Marigold is unbelievable. Like, even when Marigold was struck down with injuries a couple of years ago, it was mainly bad because they'd got a far smaller roster at that point. This is ridiculous. Like, I've never known. This is worse than, obviously, even when Stardom had that injury raft in 2023.
I was ready to ask you that. Is this worse than the coming out of the 5-star with Utami injured and Saya injured and Natsupoi injured? Is this worse because their roster isn't as deep as Stardom was in 2023?
For me, yeah. I think, at the moment, they are still a fledgling company in the grand scheme of things, 2 and a bit years old. They are in the position where aside from obviously Mayu Iwatani, Miku Aono, Mai Sakurai to an extent, Victoria Yuzuki, you haven't got established stars. So you are still in the process of building your wrestlers up. They are very much, it feels like, in a transitional period. And to lose as many wrestlers as they have for long periods as well. It's not even like these are short-term injuries, because if you look who is currently out injured, and this is without taking into account Manami Yuki, who retired because of that knee injury, we have now got Kazuna Tanaka out injured, and Naho Yamada as well. Naho Yamada went out injured as well, has retired from injury. So that is Kazuna Tanaka that's out with a long-term injury. Arina Yamanaka hasn't come back from her injury and operation yet. Mayu's obviously out. Victoria Yuzuki is obviously out. Koki Amare is out. Utami has left. And obviously Seri Yamoka today as well, on top of ones that I might have missed. That's a ridiculous amount of injuries to sustain all in one go. And even though Marigold, in terms of roster depth, are in a better place than they were at the end of 2024, when it seemed like every single show we did, or every single Marigold Standard we opened with, yep, there's another one. I just think that it gets to a point where even the strongest roster is going to struggle with that level of injury, and to the caliber of star as well, because effectively that's what's hurting them. Because all of your top stars, with the exception of Miku Aono and Mai Sakurai, obviously, you've got no one at the top of that card, because Utami's gone. Mayu, who is your big draw, your figurehead, she is out injured. Obviously, we've got some good news to do with Mayu, which we'll be talking about very shortly. Victoria Yuzuki, even if she doesn't have the surgery, and I know that Rossi has said that he thinks that both her and Mayu will be back for the summer, I'd be surprised if Victoria Yuzuki is back by the summer. But, if she's healthy, is cleared for action, and is okay, then brilliant. I'd still be a little bit unsure about throwing her into the Dream Star, but that's by the by. That, I'm not paid to make those decisions. You don't, again, it's just...
You're right, but
it's a difficult time.
4 out of the top 6 stars gone in like 3 weeks. Not gone. I mean, obviously, Tom, like you look at your top 6 stars the way that I'm seeing it about a month ago, right? Mayu, Utami, Sakurai, Miko Ano, Yuzuki, Seri Yamaoka, and those are the top 6. You just mentioned Miko Ano, Mai Sakurai. They're the only ones right now that are left that aren't injured or gone. Again, as you mentioned, and we know Utami gone back to stardom. Mayu out for a bit. Seri Yamaoka now out for a bit. Victoria Yuzuki out for a bit. So, I mean, Koki Amare, big star, but again, concussion protocol. She'll be back more than likely, as you said. I think the first string of shows in June, which is crazy. June actually starts Monday, buddy. We're flying. We're cooking. We're cooking. Seems like yesterday we were planning our trip to Japan, and here we are in the warm weather. But yeah, the one thing, and we'll talk about it with Shine Forever, is it start to finish. It was a great show. Andy Header was asking, he was asking me on air on Talk Joshi and off air. He's like, "How was the show?" Because now there's really no big title matches other than the Twin Star Championship. Like, how was the show? It's like, as far as a wrestling show goes, it was phenomenal. Like, you didn't have any big angles or huge, red belt matches or United National Championship matches, or Kyrie didn't come back or anything crazy. As far as pure wrestling goes, it was a phenomenal show. It was a phenomenal show. And because I know people are going to ask me, I did ask Andy Header when he gets time, because he didn't watch the show. Because boy, howdy, so much new gear. And I'm like, buddy, this is like, we need you for this one. So much new gear. Everybody looked phenomenal. So hopefully the next week or two, a little bonus. Who had the best gear on Shine Forever? Shine Forever was a great show. Goes to show you how great the wrestling is. They just have to start establishing stars, so people will pay money to see them. As great as the wrestling is, you need to establish stars so people will pay money to see them. And I think it's a matter of not if but when. Like, when is going to do something really going to click huge for Koki Amare and Chika Goto. And I still don't understand how Miko Ano, our champion's not selling out Cork and Hall, because she's so good. Like, I just don't know what the disconnect is. Not that it's a full disconnect, but it's like, I'm a massive fan, as of you and our listeners. are a massive fan of Miko Ano. How is like she not putting 1,200 people in Cork and Hall just in tags? Like to me, she's appointment viewing. Again, maybe that's just me. I don't know what the disconnect is, but I think it might be just a matter of time. But again, we'll see what happens as far as the wrestling goes. Wrestling goes, as we just said, it's fantastic. But at the end of the day, it's a business. You got to be able to cover your costs and pay your talent to make sure that you have a show, for the next month and the next year and everything going further. So that's just the concern looking for me because obviously I love Marigold. I love obviously Rob, because you've been there with me every step of the way. The people that work for Marigold have been phenomenal to us, and that's putting it lightly. And I want to see this company grow and grow and grow. It's just right now they're at a tough time. Hopefully when Mayu and Yuzuki comes back, they start putting more butts in seats, as Jim Ross says, and then more people are like, "Ooh, this Miko Ano's great. This now Ishikawa is terrific. Hey, this lady AI, she's come a long way really fast. We'll get into her. Nagisi Takabana, I will pay a ticket to go see her because she's a terrific wrestler." So I'm remaining positive. I'm looking. My wrestling brain is the wrestling. The wrestlers are great. The shows are fantastic. I think it's only a matter of time, but starts really start clicking, and then we start seeing them starting to fill up these venues back again.
Well, that's the thing. We might as well sort of bring Utami into this because obviously Utami has left and she was an already established draw and one of the few that Marigold have, because you made a very good point. Marigold's wrestling is good. I've always enjoyed Marigold's wrestling. Marigold's wrestling in ring has never ever been an issue. There's never been anything other than great, in my opinion. Anyway, the issue is that you don't have an abundance of money drawing talent, ticket drawing talent that people, appointment viewing, like you said. I'm not going to compare the company to Stardom because they're not Stardom. They don't want to be Stardom. In fact, they, a lot of the stuff that was going on in Stardom is why Marigold became a thing in the first place. So they're not similar companies, so I'm not going to talk about them like that. But even companies like TJPW, Sendai Girls, have all got established talent at the top of that card that people are paying money to see. And Marigold, at the moment, their stars that do that, Victoria Yuzuki, Mayu Iwatani, and Utami, are the ones that are getting injured and the ones that are leaving. Now, obviously, I'm sure Rossi has a plan, which, he's, very, very wise person, someone who said that, has come out in interviews recently and said, look, it happens. Obviously, we are going through a tough time at the moment. I'm acknowledging that the attendances aren't what we need them to be. We will turn it around. And again, hinted at, stuff he's got in place coming forward. So that's exciting. But again, you look at those Tokyo houses, the last 3 houses in Tokyo have been record lows for the company. And I don't think that I think there is a parallel in those 3 shows not having Mayu Iwatani on them. And there's nobody else on that level. There's no one else near to that level. And I know that obviously Victoria Yuzuki is someone that they want to be on that level, that they've earmarked as the next star. I think she absolutely has the ability to do that, has the aura to do that, certainly has the drive and the ambition to do that. Good Lord. Sure. I don't think I've seen many people with as much ambition in the wrestling ring as Victoria Yuzuki. I'm not just talking about her moveset. I'm talking about just as a person, the drive to be better always. But it can't just rest on Victoria Yuzuki. Again, Sari Amoka will have to be someone that you are elevating. But again, in the current injury crisis, you were looking to Sari. And Seri's now injured. It just seems to be bad luck after bad luck after bad luck. And obviously, there's nothing anyone can do about it. These are innocuous injuries. I mean, Mayu broke her toe off a moonsault. It's a moonsault she's done God knows how many times. Arini Yamanaka's was a contact injury. Victoria Yuzuki, I'm still not entirely sure how she did her ACL. I've watched it a couple of times. I'm still not sure how, but we've seen before that ACLs can go. Bozilla unfortunately did her ACL in a really, innocuous way. Natsuko Tora. We've seen Koki Amare obviously doing the amethyst butterfly. Utami leaving at this point is a huge blow for Marigold. And even with a full roster, Utami was one of those people that you could always have at the top of a show. and someone that you could rely on. And, Mai Sakurai is someone who Marigold are clearly very high on. Both me and you are very high on. She's done a tremendous job of reinventing herself since leaving Stardom. But she's not on Utami's level.
To be fair, really, who is? You know
Well,
what I mean?
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. To draw tickets, to get people invested, to really have people going to your shows week in, week out. You need talent like that, and the talent in Marigold is good. I mean, look, Komomo Minami is phenomenal. I love Komomo Minami. Victoria Izuki is fantastic, obviously injured at the moment. Sari Amoka, fantastic, obviously injured at the moment. Ria Sato is going to be really, really good when she stops being the pin eater for Darkness Revolution. Obviously,
Yuki Yamazaki.
Yuki Yamazaki. Oh, absolutely. Nagisa Takibana is another one to keep an eye on. You have got a lot of really good young talent. And I believe the Marigold English Twitter page did put out a couple of days ago, the future is very bright for Marigold.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Of course it is. And we talk all the time about Marigold youth. But the problem is, at the moment, they are not ticket draws. And that's what Marigold needs. They need an established ticket draw, because at the moment, Rossi made mention of, potentially, this could be the start of Mayu's, the injuries sort of mounting up. And, obviously she's not as young as she used to be. That's when injuries you don't recover from injuries as quick and stuff like that. And I was like, thanks, Rossi. Didn't need that in my life. Didn't need to start thinking about Mayu retiring, but thanks, Rossi. But we're getting a rather dark insight into what it could potentially be if Mayu does retire, because at the moment there's no one to take the mantle that's anywhere close to her level. I mean, Miko Auno, who of course is the top champion in Marigold, is in her mid to late 30s. I think she's 35, or have I made that up? She's either a year younger than me or she's the same age as me. So she's not one to look to for the future. She's the now. Mai Sakurai, is about my age. She's not one for the future. She's one for the now, but they are not on the same level. You're not going to draw, with the greatest of respect, and I don't mean this to sound disparaging, and I'm worried it's how it's going to come across. You're not going to be able to draw 1,100 people to Korakuen Hall with those names on top.
They have it. The proof's in the pudding. They haven't done 1,000 in Korakuen in a while.
And that's why the Utami departure is such... the timing is appalling. Let's just put that out there. The timing could not have been worse. Like, if ever they needed Utami, it's now. But, this is... I've got a feeling that this is where Rossi needs to... Or Marigold as a whole. I'm obviously not just putting this on Rossi, but more money needs to be thrown at freelancers, to really give us matches that we're excited. Mirai, for example, has already said she wants to come back and help out Marigold. And Rossi has said, hell, she left in October, but stuff changes, things change. And, if Mirai wants to come back, we're more than happy to have Mirai back. So that's an option. Obviously, we've seen Chi-Chi, who, in my opinion, if I was Rossi, I'd be throwing a big ass check at Chi-Chi, not a hard one, in a figurative way, not actually throwing stuff at Chi-Chi.
I appreciate that. Like the big check in Happy Gilmore. Remember?
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to be doing serious injury. I mean,
that's all we need is somebody else in. Chi-Chi's out. What happened? She had a paper cut.
Check at her.
Rob Goodwin threw a big check at her. Come on, Rob. You're in typical Gerb.
But, I'd be paying Chi-Chi. Do you know what else I'd be bringing in? Unagi. If there is an option, if she is open to doing business, bring her in. I'm not saying give her the top championship necessarily, but having her in the main event, she's proved herself on this freelance run. People tune in for Unagi.
There's a clear red belt match coming out of the main event for Shine Forever. Miko Wano and Takumi Iroha. They were awesome. And I know, and myself and Andy Header, we had this talk on Talk Joshi. Takumi Iroha is the champion at Marvelous. Miko Wano is the champion over, obviously, here at Marigold. We know there's politics involved. The finish is easy. 30-minute time limit draw, put it in the main event of a cork, and load up the undercard. There's no way that show does under 1,000 people. There's no way. Who would not want to see Takumi Rohan, Miko Ano? You can even build it, or just put it for, it's a Marigold show, so you put it for the Marigold belt, and it's goes with 30-minute time limit draw. Even though it's a TLD, Rob, you know this, it's a successful title defense for Miko Ano, and we're putting more steam behind Miko Ano. You already have that relationship with Marvelous. Open the door back up. And if I'm Rasi Ogawa, I'm calling Mako Satomura because there's a lot of hot wrestlers that they have over there at Sendai Girls. Bring in a Chihiro Hashimoto. We've seen Hashimoto in this company before. Bring in a Red Energy. You're telling me you want to see Red Energy versus Darkness Revolution? That'd be great because what does Red Energy do? They kick ass. People will pay money to see the Darkness Revolution get their ass kicked. Like, who doesn't want to see Misa Matsui, Nagisa Nozaki against Owada and Takasi? Like, you're absolutely right. They need to do something now to fill in the void to get more eyes on it. So it's like people will pay money to see a Miko Wada. Like, oh, Miko Wada's wrestling in Marigold at I'm just saying, for example, the 176 box. And then they're like, oh, I really like this. We talked about Nagisa Takaban and Kamo Manami and Yuki Yamazaki. I'm going to keep my eye open for this Marigold show. So yeah, considering the fact there's so many holes in the roster, yeah, bring in somebody, call Mako Satomura, call Chigusa Nagao. Unagi is perfect because from what we understand, and I could have this wrong, is Unagi and Rossi have a really good relationship dating back to their Stardom days. Yeah, I'm still actually 2 years into this Marigold run that she hasn't had one match for Marigold, has she, Rob?
Unless, I mean, I don't know if the problem was with. I always thought that her and Rossi got on. Maybe just the terms. I mean, I know that Unagi has currently got a rookie that she's taken under her wing.
Bring her with her.
So that's what I mean. That's another thing that you can do. Yeah, I just want to sort of pivot to Utami a little bit because I feel like we could talk about the injuries that Marigold have. Unfortunately, there's nothing that anyone can do about the injuries. There's nothing anyone can do about the roster, so to speak. But Rossi's comments about Utami got me thinking because it is to a certain extent a good point. And I just want to point out that obviously I know that Rossi has said stuff in interviews. Let's not forget it is English translation as well. So some stuff can get lost in translation.
Sure.
Him and Utami, have clearly still got a good relationship. You saw the hug that Utami gave Rossi after the Shine Forever main event. Okay. There is still clearly a lot of love there. There's still clearly a lot of respect there. Now, whether Rossi expected Utami to rock up in Stardom 3 days after she left Marigold, I don't know. He did say basically, if that's what she wants to do, absolutely go for it. That's fine. Just make sure you do it with your whole heart. If you're going to do it properly, properly commit to it. Now, he did say the focus has shifted somewhat in Stardom to sort of pushing younger talent. And to a certain extent, that's certainly true. I mean, just look at your top two champions in Stardom, Sayaka Kurara and Hanan are both younger than Utami. Utami's only 27, though. And I think the perfect roster, even though, you can certainly focus on youth, absolutely. And I think that's certainly the way to go. Azumi and Miyu Amazaki are your tag champs. Obviously, the future of Stardom champion is Rana. However, Utami's only 27. There's still a job to be done by Utami. And I think as well, on top of that, the perfect roster is a blend of experience and youth. And that's why the Marigold roster, when you had Nanae, when you had Utami, when you then brought in Mayu alongside, Mai Sakurai and, this experience on the Marigold roster, that was why you had the development that you did in the likes of Nagisa Takibana and Komomo Minami, even in Victoria Yuzuki. So I think that even if Utami isn't going to be in the red belt scene, and isn't going to be a 4-time World of Stardom champion, there's certainly something that she can be doing. And there's certainly a role that she can play on the Stardom roster. But I thought it was an interesting point that Rossi brought up. And I know there is a way you can look at that and it coming across as, someone who's quite annoyed at the fact that Utami is rocked up in Stardom. I actually didn't take it like that. I just took it as an observation. Again, I might be wrong. I don't know. That's just how I took the point, Matt.
Yeah, not everybody took the point of the way that Gabe Kidd did. I don't know if you saw that.
I did see that, yes. I don't know if that was aimed at this specific point, but
To me, his comment came out like an hour or two after this, Rossi's. So I kind of just put that was his reaction to it. Could be wrong. Could be wrong. Obviously, we're a G-rated podcast. We're not going to say what Gabe Kidd said. But
I imagine people are able to put two and two together and work out the kind of thing that Gabe Kidd came out with.
Yeah, it's like very Gabe Kidd.
It was a very Gabe Kidd thing to say, yes.
But no, Rossi did make some points here, but you made a point where the Marigold roster, very much like the Stardom roster, is a mix of experience and youth. And that's exactly what Utami is. She's experienced and she's still 27 is still very, very young. Still very young. I mean, there's wrestlers that are still drawing in their 40s. Look at Terry Funk, God rest his soul, and the greatest ever, was putting asses in seats in his 50s.
Aja Kong's just had a 40th anniversary.
Yeah, and a really fun show outside, by the way. It was an outside show.
I have heard very good things about the show.
Yes, definitely watch the match. For this, a tag team. Sherry Chirahashimo and Takumi Roha. They were a team. Definitely take time to watch their match. They had a really good match. Anywho, but yeah, I see his points, and I did like the point where he's like, hey, if you're gonna go for it with your whole heart. So it's just like I think Rossi wants to see Utami exceed. And yeah, you made mention, partner, that Utami and Rossi left on good terms. So
yeah,
who's to say in 2 or 3 years? Like she very much like when she left Stardom 2 years ago. She left on good terms, left with the door open. Clearly, obviously, the door is open for her to come back. She's back. I mean, it's the buzz of the wrestling world, especially the Joshi world this past week. It's probably going to continue for quite some time. So who's not to say in 2 or 3 years, if she does leave Stardom, the door's open for her to go back to Marigold. That's the way Utami does business. It goes to show you that one, what a great person she is, and two, she understands business. She didn't burn any bridges. So if something does happen, or it's just like, hey, I've done everything in Stardom that I possibly could twice, let me go back over to Marigold and help this roster out in 2, 3, 4 years. I mean, it's there. The door is open for it. So again, we'll see, what happens with this Utami run. We talked about it on all platforms of the podcast this past week, and I'm sure we're going to continue. But you're right. Rossi did make some solid points, but the thing that struck me was like, hey, go back to Stardom and hit a home run. Go hit a home run without me there to kind of guide you through the landmines. This is Utami, and she even said, this is my first run without Rossi there. Without Rossi booking me, it's somebody else booking me. So it's going to be really interesting to see how she does. I'm very certain, I'm sure you are and our fans are, that Utami's going to do phenomenal over there. But to me, it was just Rossi making a point. Hey, he's been around this a long time. But to me, the exclamation point was wishing her well. Like, hey, don't half-ass it. And we know Utami's not going to, because Utami is a very, very special talent and one of the best wrestlers going today, my friend.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm intrigued now again with where Marigold go in terms of their wider roster. Okay, so who is going to be that person that you really elevate? Because obviously Victoria Yuzuki is going to be out minimum another 2 months, I'd have thought, minimum. Mayu, obviously, we'll talk about in a little bit. Her prognosis looks good. I don't know the typical return date for a dislocated shoulder, but I can't imagine that it's, a short amount of time, especially if it looks like she's going to need surgery on it. Because isn't that what Natsumi Shozuki did? Or did she fractured her collarbone and dislocated her shoulder, didn't she? So that was slightly different. But, who is going to be that elevated star? Obviously, we've got a Red Belt challenge coming up, which is very exciting because I am a huge fan of Nightshade. She is absolutely fantastic. Can't wait for her and Miku Ano to do that. But who are they going to push? Because they've got to push someone. And that is actually quite exciting. Obviously, I'm sure Marigold would have preferred different circumstances for this push, but nevertheless, it's certainly an exciting time to see, right, well, okay, who is going to step up because we need someone? Who is it going to be, and why is it Komomo Minami?
Komomo, I mean, you made a lot of great points. The one person that we didn't make mention of, she's been over for a long time. If this is now the time to push Naoya Ishikawa. Why they haven't? They've been start and stop. I still think, and I know it's over a year ago, that she never beat Nanai, didn't do anybody any favors, and we're kind of seeing the repercussions right here, right now. You need to push Naoya Ishikawa. She's over. She has that connection with the audience. A lot of these upper tier wrestlers in Marigold don't do. And again, I'm not Andy Header. I'm not qualified. To me, the best gear on Shine Forever was Naoya Ishikawa. Again, apologize. I'm not qualified
The
for
new
that.
gear was cool.
She looks fantastic. She connects with the audience. She's a great worker. When she does the Gigaton stuff, it's over. It's funny. She could be a serious wrestler, a tag wrestler. We mentioned a lot of names. Nagisa Takabana, Komomo Minami, obviously. But this is the time to push Naoya Ishikawa. It's just like, you know what? You're over with the crowd. We've kind of been pumping the brakes on her. They haven't been fully invested in her. Why? I don't know. Again, I'm not Rossi. I'm not nowhere near as smart as he is. But it's just like, you know what? Why not? This is the time. This is the time to start throwing Hail Marys, and maybe somebody will catch one. I think giving Naoya Ishikawa a push, why not? At this point, it's not going to hurt. It's not going to hurt. Give her the opportunity, because they never really gave her the big opportunity to be able to put butts in seats. And Rob, again, she has that crowd connection. She has that crowd connection. She does kind of have that it factor that you really can't put your finger on. So I think it would be in Marigold's best interest, excuse me, to give now a shot. Just give her a shot. That's it.
I mean, obviously, when we interviewed Rossi, he name dropped Koki, and obviously I know Koki's out injured. It's not a long-term thing. She will be back within the next week or so. I think she's due. I'm sure I read that she's back for the 6th of June. This might have to be the point where Koki Amare is pushed, where they give her the nod and say, right, okay, look, no Mayu, no Victoria Zuki, Utami's gone. We basically need you now, Amethyst Butterfly. You've got the aura, you've got, the star power. She's still not had that breakout singles match. Aside from, and I keep bringing this up, that Dream Star match with Mariah, which was brilliant. And again, I feel like Mariah not getting one of the belts was a huge missed opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do think that Mirai would have stopped. And again, I can't say that because I don't know how she feels. I don't know the personal reasonings in wanting to become a freelancer. I can't speculate, so I won't say that. I just think that you would have had more of a bona fide star. Again, the first show, Marigold Fields Forever, Mirai comes out, the place explodes. 1,500 people in Corrigan Hall. It felt like Mirai was the biggest star on the planet. And she won the Twin Star belts, which, no disrespect to the Twin Star belts. When you are needing people, and again, I do understand that you gave the belt to Miko Auno. You wanted Miko Auno to build her so that she could become Red Belt champion. I do think that was the right choice. But to not have Mirai as one of the champions at some point, I think was a huge mistake, because, again, she is someone that we could be looking to right now and saying she could be the person you build this company around.
Absolutely, in a time of need right now. So again,
Absolutely.
we don't know why she left. It was that part of it. I don't know,
No.
But I mean, if they were going to be all in with Mirai and drawing money, doing business, selling merch, she wouldn't have had a reason to leave. But then again, it's maybe she wanted a lesser schedule. Again, that's the conversation that we weren't privy to. Nor again, we're not a dirt sheet. We're not dirt sheet riders, Rob.
No, we're certainly not looking for the scoop. We never have been. It's more just a case of, that seems like a real untapped potential. But again, we're looking back at this with 2020 vision. So
Sure.
again, and I've just said, as I've already stated, giving Mika Wano the white belt to establish her as a star before giving her the red belt, I think ultimately was the right decision. But I do think that, no disrespect to Mai Sakurai, I think that Mirai should have been the one to take the belt from Mika Wano. But again, you could also argue that it could have been Bozilla.
Yeah.
So, there's plenty of options that were there. And it is worth pointing out as well. It's just something that's just this second crossed my mind. Obviously, we are, Maddie Morgan and Angel Hayes are fantastic wrestlers. They go back home in the month.
What's it, beginning of July? Is that when they go back? Yeah, so they're on a month off with
It
them.
was 3 months and they came in at the start of May.
Oh, wow.
So,
you're losing them.
yeah. No, they came in April. I can't remember, but anyway, again, they're not going to be there for long. So that's another two great hands that are not going to be on the Marigold roster. So yeah, interesting.
Real quick, the one freelancer we didn't talk about when she comes back from her little injury, Suri. She was supposed to wrestle. Definitely try to get her as many dates as possible because she's a bunch. She doesn't matter what company she wrestles for. She puts butts in seats. People pay money to see Suri. So yeah, we know she's supposed to have that match with Sari, and then we thought it was going to lead to something at Shine Forever, booking there. So that's another one to definitely keep your eye on for that. I think that definitely calling the Sun God, like whenever you're ready. We got a couple young wrestlers to for you to throw around.
Yeah, absolutely. Here, this is Hummingbird. I think that at least for every Korakuen Hall that Sari can do, just give her what she wants. Give her the money that she wants and have her in that Korakuen Hall position, because ultimately you can do a story then. That's how you can build up a Komomo Minami. Have Sari run through the entire roster, including Komomo Minami, and then build this redemption arc so that Komomo Minami is the one that pins Sari. And there you have got a star in Komomo Minami. And again, if you want to do it with Nagisa Takibana, do it with Nagisa Takibana. If you want to do it with Yuki Yamazaki, it probably makes more sense for it to be Seri Yamaoka. But again, you've got a talent there. You've got a bunch of good singles matches that are going to draw in eyes to your product, and then you've got the storyline. So again, I just think it's definitely worth something worth looking at. Mayu Iwatani, then we did promise some good news. It doesn't look like she's going to need surgery on her foot after all. She did post a side-by-side of her x-ray, and it is starting to heal. I believe she went today, and the MRI on her shoulder was better than she thought it was going to be. So in a world where Marigold seems to have nothing but bad news at the moment, this is the best possible news they could have. Obviously, she's still not fit enough to be on the shows. The x-ray, you can still see the fracture. She did come out on this week's Monday Magic and vacated the GHC Women's Championship, but we will be talking about what the future of that belt is, at least the immediate future. But again, Matt, in a world, as I've just said, where we've talked almost extensive, almost solely about the injuries and the state of the Marigold roster for 48 minutes, this is a huge boost for Marigold.
Yeah, we don't know the exact timetable when she'll be back. Again, hopefully the start of the Dream Star, because they're going to need some firepower for that tournament, and you're not going to get much bigger firepower than the icon of Joshi Pro Wrestling one, Mayu. Yeah, Mayu vacating the GHC Championship. Like, that's almost like a cursed belt. It really seems it's only been a championship for a little over a year. So sad to say, but at least Mayu on that promo that she did Monday Magic a few weeks ago, she did say, "Whoever is the champion, I'm coming back for it." So I do like how they're planting the seeds of Mayu being one of the challengers for said belt. I know you're going to get into it, Rob. Maybe we do get that rematch from night 2 of the 2022 5-star Grand Prix with one Mayu Itani and one Mirai.
Well, it's funny you should bring that up.
Oh.
What a segue. Because it almost immediately afterwards, Noah did announce that there would be a vacant championship match at Wrestle Magic, which is coming up in June. I think it's June 16th, between Mirai and the Great Sequoia to crown the new GHC Women's Champion. Now, obviously, I don't want to speculate, but if Mirai were to win that belt, that's a belt you can defend in Marigold, which again does sort of give you an option, especially on those Corrigan Hall shows where you are looking to bring back those numbers from before. I think it makes sense for it to be Mirai. Nothing against the Great Sequoia. Obviously, she's great. I prefer her obviously as Rico, but again, I think it will be a good match. I would be surprised if it's not Mirai walking away with that belt, though.
I'm pretty sure it's the 15th because it's Monday Magic, right? So it's a Monday Magic show.
It might well be. It might well be. I was under the impression it was the 16th, but I don't know why.
I think it's like a special pay-per-view too on Wrestle Universe. I thought I saw it's like an additional fee for this show. The reason why, because I think they said it was Monday Magic. My wedding anniversary is June 16th, and that'd be a Tuesday, Rob.
Congratulations.
We're not there yet, buddy. I still have time to screw it up. Still have time to screw up year 14, but get out a lucky 13 for me and the missus. But I would say if this was the 16th, it'd be a great way to start my wedding anniversary where I wake Amber up like, come on, we're going to watch Mirai and the Great Sequoia do battle. Yeah, I think Mirai is going to take this. I think that, no disrespect to the lady who may or may not be Riko Karahara.
True, yeah, of course.
May or may not. Allegedly. Rob Goodwin, allegedly.
Oh, it is the 15th. I apologize.
See that. Every now and again, a broken clock is right twice a day, buddy. What's the old saying? A blind squirrel gets a nut every now and again.
That's the one.
But I'm looking forward to this one. I think this is going to be great. I think Mirai is the perfect champion because, yeah, she can defend it anywhere. Michinoku Pro, on Noah shows, on Marigold shows. So I think Mirai would be really the perfect champion considering you're coming off a bad situation. And again, then Rob, when Mayu comes back, you can build towards that Mirai and Mayu match and do it at a Monday Magic or do it at a Noah show. You can really pretty much do it anywhere, but that's the way that I see it. Could I be wrong? Sure. Maybe I am wrong. Maybe the Great Sequoia bell rings. Before the bell rings, she gets misted because it's not an official match. The bell rings, hits the backbreaker moonsault, and that's all she wrote. So
plows through her, yeah. Absolutely plows her in less than 30 seconds. Goes full Aja Kong and Bull Nakano, stabbing at her with scissors. Immediate victory.
Cage gets involved. There's Medusa shows up.
Absolutely. Like, what is going on? Also on this show from May 25th was a three-way match. And when I saw that this was announced, I was like, I bet Matt is a very, very, very happy little camper. Because in a three-way on the second match of this Shinjuku face card, Seri Amoka versus Mia Momono versus Momoka Hanazono. And they gave it time, Matt. Almost 12 minutes they gave this three-way with three of the most exciting women in Joshi. I'm such a huge fan of Momoka Hanazono. Mia Momono feels like she's on a completely other level at this point. Every time she steps into a ring, it's just pure wrestling magic. See what I did there?
On a Monday.
There you go. On a Monday again. And then obviously Seri Amoka, we're enormous fans of Seri. This was a really, really, really good, enjoyable match that they gave time to.
Three-ways are tough to do, and then you have three different styles. Like you see the Lucha three-ways do really well. Stardom does them really well. And obviously Marigold does them really well. But these are three wrestlers from three different companies that aren't familiar with each other with three different styles. This one hit all the beats. I mean, you had the great amateur wrestling, suplex wrestling from Seri Yamaoka. You had a lot of the comedy, yet the high-impact offense from Momoka Hanazono, and then Miyamoto is just one of the best wrestlers going. Like if I'm not one of the bigger companies, I know obviously loyalty is a big thing, especially in Japanese wrestling, but why one of the big wrestling companies have not thrown a whole bunch of money on Miyamoto, I don't know. She's just a special talent.
She really is.
But this match was great. This worked in all sorts of the ways. It hit all the beats. This was terrific. The crowd was molten hot for it. I actually had it, Rob, at, you ready? 4.25 stars.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Yeah, it was a really good match. Definitely go out of your way to check out that. So just wanted to bring up as well from the first Monday Magic of the new series, and this was something that myself and Matt didn't quite get to talk about because of, I'll be perfectly honest, my fault. Takumi Iroha and Senka versus Mai Sakurai and Yuka Yamazaki, which was a nice little surprise match and a callback as well to the old Marvelous and Marigold feud that was so enjoyable in the early parts of 2025.
Yeah, maybe you bring that back too. We mentioned about bringing Takumi and maybe bring that back to kind of put some butts in seats. This was great. Nice seeing Yuki Yamazaki get kind of the Monday Magic rub because we've seen Hazuki on these shows, Takumi on these shows, Mayu on these shows, Utami. I think Julia was on one of the first ones. So it's nice seeing Yuka, an up and coming wrestler. Again, we've seen all of her matches. Big fans, and again, she's another wrestler constantly getting better. Nice seeing Yuka get the rub on the show. And I really like the finish where like Yuka hits a brainbuster on Takumi Iroha, and then Senka just goes in and pins her. It's just like legal man or
Senka does what Senka does, my man.
Legal participant. I like that. A little throwback old school. I loved it. I thought this was a really solid match. And again, Yuka Sakurai, again, big star in Marigold. She's going to be the one that we know is going to be the one carrying the ship, for lack of a better term, while everybody is, we're waiting for the Yuka, for the Victoria Yuzukis and the Mayus to come back. And obviously Takumi's great, Senka's terrific, but Yuki Yamazaki really took advantage of this opportunity. I thought she was terrific. Rob, I believe my star rating for this was 4 stars.
Just reminded me through just the sheer sensuality of Matt's voice. Sensuality? Yeah, that's the word.
Sure.
Yeah, even if it's not, made it a word.
It is now.
It absolutely. We aren't going to be going through, obviously, all the matches from Shinjuku Face. We've just handpicked a couple to go through in the same vein that we did with all the Golden Week shows. One of those matches is not Maddie Morgan versus Sari Amoka for obvious reasons. Last bit of news, Matt, before we get into our shows, and this was a bit of a surprise. I completely forgot this was happening. Big Japan Pro Wrestling did a special event inside the Sonodo Racecourse in Hyogo. And Marigold had a sponsored match. It was second on the card, and we had Yuka Yamazaki versus Nao Ishikawa. That's happened literally earlier today. Yuka Yamazaki getting the win over Nao Ishikawa at 6 minutes and 33 seconds. I know what you're going to ask, Matt. No, I don't know where you can see it. I assume BJW Core in about 6 months. I don't know. Maybe it'll be free. I know it's in partnership with someone, but I don't know who it's in partnership with. But no, I don't know where you can see this, unfortunately.
I have another question for you, and you're probably not going to know this answer. The gentleman on the top right, is that former Ring of Honor wrestler from Ring of Honor Year One, Quiet Storm? I know he left. He was great in Ring of Honor in the early years. Then he went to go do a tour of Japan. I don't think he ever came back. I think he's been living in Japan like 20 years, like working all the independents. I wonder if that's him.
Matt Turner?
Yes.
That is a spot and a half, good sir. Yes, that is Quiet Storm. He was in the main event.
Swerve Strickland, like his big finisher, like the driver where you turn him in and drop him on your head.
Yeah,
I think what he calls it. The Quiet Storm invented that.
Really?
Yes, Storm Cradle Driver. Yes.
Nice.
Look at that. Look at that. I just thought of something real quick. We've been talking a lot about Marvelous. Marvelous announced earlier today that they're going to start putting a lot of their shows free on YouTube. So
I've seen that. Yes.
That's great. That's great because we know it takes them forever to upload on Wrestle Universe, and their shows are terrific.
Takes
months. So that's really cool.
I think that might be something to do with their pay-per-view model, because I think they do it through a pay-per-view service and they need to wait for it to come off there before they can put it on a streaming service. I think that's the issue. That's why it takes so long. Again, I'm vamping, but I think that's probably why you can't have it on two services. I don't believe, anyway.
I guess you can't have your cake and eat it too, Rob.
Can't always get what you want, in the words of the Rolling Stones.
Sometimes if you try, you get what you need.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, let's kick into Shine Forever, the 23rd of May from Otaward City Gymnasium, the Ibarra. I believe it's called the Ibarra Gymnasium now. I believe it's the exact same venue. I think it's just under a slightly different name. But the attendance either way, 1,230. 30. Now, we have already spoken about this. It's the lowest attendance the company have drawn to the venue of the 3 times they've run it. It's also a 32.12% decrease on first stream's attendance on the 3rd of January, which, if you remember, was 1,812. Myself and Matt were at that show. However, and again, I am going to sort of preface this, considering the long-term injuries to the top talent, Mayu Utami, Victoria Yuzuki, meaning that there was no single matches, as in single titles, being contested for on this card. I don't think the number is as bad as was feared, because when the card was first announced, I think it was a case of, oh my God, what's going to happen here? No singles title match at all. But I think that's a good number. And actually, the 1,200 people that were there were treated to a really good wrestling show, 2 very, very good singles matches and a fantastic main event. Obviously, in that main event, speaking of the main event, it marked the final appearance of Utami Hayashishita, who would leave the company after this match, including her gauntlet match, which she had at Korakuen Hall, with each result taken as an individual result. She departs the company with an overall record of 196 matches, 84 wins, 73 losses, 39 draws. And it does, of course, also mark the first appearance of Mirai, the return of Mirai. Her first appearance in Marigold since 13th of October 2024. In terms of your results, then, we opened with a singles match on the pre-show, Hummingbird defeating AI with a modified grounded Manji Utami in 6 minutes and 27 seconds. We opened with a tag team match of the proper card, the main card. Komomo Minami and Nagisa Takibana versus Yuki Yamazaki and Shino ended in a 10-minute time limit draw. Singles match next, Chi-Chi defeating Ria Sato in her first Marigold singles match, pinning the Darkness Revolution member with a backdrop in 10 minutes and 28 seconds. 8-woman tag action, Nagisa Tanozaki, Nyla Rose, Nightshade, and Johnny Robbie defeated the team of Natsumi Shozuki, Shoko Kashino, Now Ishikawa, and Angel Hayes. Nyla Rose pinning Now Ishikawa with a chokeslam in 10 minutes and 35 seconds. Matt, to the surprise of no one, Villainous Queen D did indeed turn out to be dump Matsumoto. And no, she took precisely no bumps. Why would she for Megaton? She defeated Megaton. And I think defeated is soft. She absolutely blitzed the hell out of Megaton in just over 5 minutes with a lariat. Last singles match on the card, Seriam Oka defeated Senka Akatsuki with the Oki clutch in 13 minutes and 7 seconds. We then had a title change in our one and only title match on the card. The Marigold Twin Star Championships, Twin Towers, Koki Amare and Chika Goto defeated the Darkness Revolution team of Chiaki and Misa Matsui. Koki pinning Chiaki with the Amethyst Butterfly in 16 minutes and 10 seconds, ending the run of Darkness Revolution at 209 days and 6 successful title defenses, a record for the titles on both counts. And then in your main event, a 6-woman tag match, a stacked 6-woman tag match as well. Miko Aono, Mai Sakurai, and Mirai defeated Utami Hayashishita, Maddie Morgan, and Takumi Aroha. Mai Sakurai pinning Utami Hayashishita in her final Marigold appearance with a powerbomb in 25 minutes and 18 seconds. So, Matt, obviously, I know that you highlighted AI for the show in Shinjuku Face, and you mentioned her earlier as someone who is always improving, always developing, always improving. Here she had a single match with Hummingbird. Talk to me. What were you impressed with here?
Really fun match, high paced, high energy, 6.5 minutes, a great way to warm up this crowd. And again, ultimately what was a really terrific show. Again, we'll talk about her phenomenal tag match from, again, in the next show, we'll talk about. This was great and a really great showcase for Hummingbird. Lady AI was almost like a counter puncher here. Like she was waiting, like almost like counter wrestling, which I think is like a good spot for her. But I think she's great. I think we mentioned after like the first 2 months, I'm like, yeah, she's good. But it's taking her like it seemed like Nagisa Takabana was getting it quicker. Hummingbird was getting it quicker. Now all of a sudden it seems like these last 2 or 3 weeks, I'm like, oh, there it is. There it is. She's really starting to pick a lot of things up. And I think it might be because she's getting in the ring with better wrestlers. Like she's wrestling, tagging, and across the ring with from better wrestlers other than those wrestlers who only been wrestling a year and a half. So we've been seeing really fast development, pardon me, from Lady AI these last few weeks. And I tell you what, I think that she's going to have a really bright future here in Dreamstar fighting Marigold. And speaking of bright future, Hummingbird, again, she's another one that she's got to take a look at and be like, look, there's all these injuries, there's spots to fill. Give me the ball because she's terrific as well. Again, nonstop action. Everything was well paced, but it is Hummingbird putting away Lady AI with her version of the grounded head scissors. 3.25 stars. I thought a really good way to start out the pre show.
Yeah, Hummingbird was someone that I highlighted a couple of episodes back as someone who is more than ready to be in that white belt picture. Not to win the belt, I don't think, by any stretch of the imagination, but they did have Misa Matsui challenge for the white belt, and I think Hummingbird would do a job like that. Again, she'd be a challenger that would have a fantastic match, but obviously isn't ready for the belt yet. But it's someone you can certainly give the tap on the shoulder to, and someone that will perform. And again, I think Lady AI, the more we see her, the more she is improving, and that's another bit that is exciting coming out of Marigold as well. And you're absolutely right. You mentioned it earlier. Every match on this card was great, like thoroughly enjoyable. Tag team match, Marigold Youth, Kamomo Minami, Gisa Takibana, Shino, and Yuki Yamazaki. And it is matches like these that do remind you that Marigold has got such a bright future. And again, I know we did say it was referenced on Marigold's social media not long ago, but it's matches like these that make you realize it runs true. Because these four wrestlers are exceedingly talented, considering the age is about 80 cumulatively over the four of them.
This was terrific. I mean, you start off with some great wrestling with Yuka and Nagisa Takabana, great chain wrestling, then arm drags, dropkick exchanges. Then we do see Shino. Then she comes in with Kamo Manami. That could be a 10-year feud because they're young, the future's bright, they work really well together. We just see that Kamo Manami trying to use her speed advantage, and Shino just hits the pump knee, the kick. Like she starts to brutalize Kamomo here in the middle of this match, which I thought was a really great way to get in towards the end part of this match. Yuki Yamazaki with a 619, and then Shino with a dropkick combination to Nagisa Takabana. We do have that Nagisa Takabana misses her double jump crossbody, but she lands on her feet or like rolls through, like you'd see Tyler Black, Seth Rollins do, then comes back, hits a stunner. I was like, oh hell yeah, hitting the stunner. I thought that was a really great way to kind of almost like counter her miss from that beautiful dive that she does. So she's putting more thought into her big high spot. Like, look, I can't hit this all the time. I can tease it, miss it, or they even go into something else. And if that's what she's going to do, roll through and then hit a stunner, I'm all for just Nagisa adding on to her already impressive arsenal, which ultimately builds towards her big finish, that big, beautiful double jump triangle crossbody. We get towards the end here with Yuka, we do have Nagisa Takabana, or excuse me, Shino hitting Nagisa Takabana with the pump knee and then putting her in the sharpshooter. Yuka makes the save. We get the waterfalls, and then we do end the waterfalls, Rob, with that double jump crossbody. See, psychology, but that's the last thing you see as the bell rings. I love this match. I thought this was great. 3 3/4 stars for me. Again, this was the main opener. You always want to start your shows, especially these big shows, with a hot opener. This was a molten hot opener. My one little nitpick, Rob, we need to be pushing new stars here fast. Should have had a winner. You should have had a winner. The time limit draw ultimately doesn't help anybody. Any one of these wrestlers could have won and would have benefited from it. Like Nagisa hits the crossbody and gets a 3, or she misses and Shino puts her back in the sharpshooter, or Yuka hits the twist of faith, or Kamomo rolls somebody up with a Kamomo clutch. This was a great match. There was still, even though the attendance was down, 1,200 people, was still a lot of people watching this. And again, they put this free on free with your subscription for Wrestle Universe. So you had a lot of more eyes on this than you would a normal pay-per-view on first viewing. This could have been a really good opportunity to get somebody a W, in my opinion, than to put some steam behind them going into the summer months. That's just my opinion. Regardless, great match, 3 3/4 stars.
First singles match of the outing, and I'll repeat what I said earlier. I think if you're Rossi, you need to be throwing money at Chi because, and again, from what Chi has been saying online, she has said something recently about how, she wants to take the white belt from Victoria Yuzuki. So she's certainly locked in, at least on a part-time basis to do stuff with Marigold. But she's someone who, again, you could really, really do something good with. And again, we saw the proof in the pudding with her match with Rhea Sato because both wrestlers did a phenomenal job here.
Well, they had the post-match angle where Chi called out, I got right here, Koki Amare, Shino, Kamomanam, and Yuki Yamazaki. Like you put together again. This was great because again, like I just said, a lot of eyes are watching this show. A lot of people know Chi, and even if you don't, she's somebody that as soon as she steps through the curtain, like, oh, that's somebody special. Like she's got that aura. She connects with the audience. She's a great wrestler. She will kick your ass. She will also give a lot to her opponent, like she did with Rhea Sato. Rhea Sato was great. But they set up 4 singles matches after this, which I thought was brilliant booking. It's like, you want to see Chi more and Marigold? We're going to give it to you. And now we're lining up her next challengers. So whenever those dates come out, we don't know, but they did a great job. Again, I got it written down here. Kamoma Nami, Shino, Koki Amare, and Yuki Yamazaki. Those are 4 matches, Rob, I definitely want to see. And you're only going to see them in Marigold. So I thought that was a genius part on Rossi on the booking. This match was great. 10 minutes of hard-hitting, great technical wrestling. Had a little bit of everything. You got your big lockup to start. You got Rhea Sato working over Chi-Chi's leg, which plays into Rhea's offense. Obviously, she likes going for the Achilles lock, the knee bar, her version of the trailer hitch. And obviously, Chi-Chi, most of her power does come from those kicks. That sets up those exploder. So I like that. I like Chi-Chi fighting from behind here. Rhea Sato bending the rules a little bit. I would have maybe liked it if she broke the rules or bended them a little more to get more heat on her, thus getting more sympathy behind somebody that's over like Chi-Chi. Regardless, I thought this was great. This is a match that they got a lot out of. I think they have a better match in them. I would love to, again, they're both young. I would love to see this match run back a few times. But ultimately, I absolutely loved it. Rhea Sato hits the ripcord knee for a 2 count. Chi-Chi comes back with a head kick and a spin kick and that wicked snap backdrop driver, putting away Rhea Sato. 3 3/4 stars. I thoroughly enjoyed this one, my friend.
It could be a case of once Sari is back from injury, you could have her, Miko Kanai, and Chi all coming in to do shots in Stardom. And,
Marigold.
again, sorry, Marigold. Yeah, absolutely. There we go. I think Rhea Sato is someone that needs pushing as well. And I wonder if the Dream Star might be the opportunity to do that for her to get some key victories and start her ascent up the card, because the heel turn was hot. And I think she's another one that when she's given the opportunities, she's a very exciting wrestler. This match here with Chi-Chi, she proved that she is a more than capable wrestler. Give her a little bit more. Let's see what she can handle. Let's see, what her level is. Whilst, we haven't got the ceiling there, when you've got that clear pathway to the main event, let's see what the likes of Rhea Sato can do. And again, this match only solidified my thought that Rhea Sato, there's a lot more to her and a lot more to come from her. And she's someone that obviously when we talk about the Marigold Youth, she's someone we often forget in terms of, when we list off, Sariyama Oka, Yuki Yamazaki, Shino, Komomo Minami, Nagisa Takibata, going through all these people. Rhea Sato, because she's a heel and because she's with Darkness Revolution, it's someone I often forget to list, but she's someone who is very, very underrated on this roster and someone who can be used to a great effect somewhere on that card. The perfect foil for the United National title. Obviously, she's got that story when Victoria Yuzuki comes back. It would not surprise me if she gets a couple of key victories coming out of the Dream Star Grand Prix. 8-woman tag then, the Marigold debut of Nyla Rose, which was great to see. Nyla is fantastic. Nightshade obviously making her first appearance since November. Johnny Robbie as well, who is, in terms of independent wrestling, one of the most supremely talented wrestlers on the American independent scene. Obviously been killing it in Marvelous as well. Against Natsumi Shozuki, Naoya Ishikawa, Shoko Kishino, and Angel Hayes. And this was really fun. Like, it was quite an odd bod team in terms of Nagisa Nozaki, Nightshade, Nyla Rose, and Johnny Robbie. But I think they did a great job. And I would, if there is an option there, hell, I would love to see Nyla Rose do more in Marigold. I know obviously her and Nightshade are the new tag champs in Marvelous, having dethroning Magenta at the start of May. But I'd love to see them do more in Marigold. Obviously, we know Nightshade will do, and we're going to be talking about that a little bit later on. But I think Nyla Rose, you throw her in there with anyone on that Marigold roster, and she would absolutely kill it.
Yeah. I mean, Nyla Rose and Nightshade were pretty dominant here. Pretty dominant in the beginning. Then in the end, it was just something they just beat up everybody and like just stacked everybody and pinned them.
Love it.
Give me Johnny Robbie in a run in Marigold. Give me Johnny Robbie versus Natsumi Shozuki.
I knew that would be the first match you came up with. I knew it.
I'm a simple man, Rob. I like good wrestling and a decent night of sleep and a cool breeze and a nice comic and a good Star Wars movie like Attack of the Clones. Anywho,
why'd you have to ruin the episode with your nonsense?
Go on, wait till you see what I do at the end of the episode. I got something for you, buddy. You don't worry about it. Yeah. Anywho, we mentioned it a little bit ago. Naomi Ishikawa was great in this match, and her new gear was like, not that her old gear was bad by any stretch of the imagination, but her new gear, new robe, kind of like was walking around with a little more confidence. I thought she looked terrific here, even though she got pasted towards the end. And I think Naomi Ishikawa was somebody they should really look into pushing. Yeah, it was ultimately a really fun match for the beginning and the end. It was just so much dominance for Nyla Rose and Nightshade, and we'll talk about it in a little bit. We know Nyla Rose is the next challenger, or excuse me, Nightshade is the next challenger for Miko Ano. Wouldn't be heartbroken if after said match, her tag partner Nyla Rose comes out and then she's the next challenger for Miko Ano. I think that'd be a great match. Again, I know there's the politics involved. One can dream. 3.5 stars. Again, a really fun match that ultimately just kind of highlighted the dominance that is Nyla Rose and Nightshade.
Moving on then, poor Megaton, man. Like, first it was Sari. No, first it was Minoru Suzuki, I apologize. Then it was Kuroshio Tokyo Japan, and she got ridiculed and abused by Mr. Tokyo. Then she won a title, and now it's Dun Matsumoto. And Dun Matsumoto just brutalized it. Absolutely brutalized it. The vision of Megaton attempting to even come close to scaring Dun Matsumoto with her typical trademark shtick, and Dun Matsumoto no selling it entirely, stabbing her in the head with a fork, throwing her into the chairs, having the entirety of a unit come out and beat up Megaton as well. Everyone have a go on Megaton, and then eventually just pinned her with a lariat. It was a mauling of catastrophic levels.
Kind of knew it would be. I mean, they kind of tipped their hand on who this was going to be. Like, we didn't know Tokyo Japan. We, like, when it was Minoru Suzuki, like, what? Kind of figured this would be Dun Matsumoto, and you kind of figured it'd be a mauling, but the fact there was blood, I was like, ooh. Not only that, but like
comedy character as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing when you get hit and you do the, take the blade out, the old pull and twist, but like you go back and watch it, like Abby forks Megaton, and that's how Megaton bleeds.
She's got pictures on social media of the holes in her head.
Yeah, Megaton does not do the old blade. I mean, when we have somebody else cutting you for you with a fork, it's a little risky. I mean, it could be, obviously it's Dun Matsumoto. She's been doing this quite a while. But wow, I mean, we really don't see blood in many of these Joshi companies that we cover, not unless it's like a busted nose, which when they hit that hard, it'll happen. But like to see, not I was gonna say a blade job, it wasn't even a blade job. Just to see blood and a fork, like that's like proper 1980s stuff there. So I didn't rate this match. It was brutal. I will never get that image out of my head of poor Megaton just tied in the ropes, getting forked from Dun Matsumoto. Like, wow. I mean, just that's what happened. I mean, it should have been disqualification because there was 84 people beating up Megaton, but at this point, what's the point? But wow, I mean, geez, what an impact. And then Dun Matsumoto did cut a promo basically telling Megaton, like, and again, we got to give shout outs to Sonny and Stu. Phenomenal job as always on commentary, but with Stu doing the translation, basically telling Megaton, hey, if you're going to do this with your heart. And then she put over Ross Yogawa because obviously they know each other back from, the days in the 80s and 90s. And then she attacked the timekeeper because I believe the timekeeper was some sort of referee or agent back in the All Japan days. And so she beat him up too.
I love the fact that the referee was getting abused as well. Like at the start, before the match had even started, she was just causing absolute carnage. It was magnificent. But yeah, just I think we did put something on the predictions league. How many bumps, or does Villainous Queen D take any bumps during this match? It was a spectacular no.
Zero.
Yeah, absolute zero. I don't think Megaton came close to delivering anything close to being offense either. So yeah, and pardon me, an absolute pasting.
I still think it what all these matches we've been seeing Dup Matsumoto since like the Queen the Netflix shows came out and she's been booked. I think Micah's the only one to bump her. I think it's Micah's the only one to bump her.
I mean,
It
to be
was
fair, she is getting on. We don't want to taking too many bumps.
I'm just saying, like, if when she's taking a bump, she's giving permission. Like I've been on on shows and in matches with these wrestlers from like the 80s. And it's
Mm,
just like, hey, I'm not going to take any bumps. Or like, hey, if I'm going to bump, I'm going to bump for this specific person, and it's a big deal. So I'm pretty sure
yeah.
that she bumped for Micah. Again, I could be wrong, but again, that's another story for another day.
Moving on, then we have got. Has my microphone volume just gone up? By the way,
You sound lovely. Maybe just more excited to talk about this match, buddy. I think it may just be your pitch. I don't know.
maybe I have just altered something because I realized I was coming through quieter. So thank you. Anyway, we have got the singles match: Seri Amoka and Senka Akatsuki. It's impossible for those of us that have followed Marigold for a long time to not get excited about Seri and Senka in a singles match, just because they are just so good whenever they are in a match together. Seri Amoka is a generational talent. Senka Akatsuki is one of the most exciting talents in Japan, the exciting young talents in Japan. And they have such a competitive rivalry, just this desire to best the other one, that it makes for a really, really cool dynamic whenever they are in the ring. And this was no different. And this was given as well, I feel, this was sort of a marquee match for this show. So there was quite a lot of pressure on this match. And people forget Seri and Zenka have not been wrestling that long, but you wouldn't know that from this match. I thought they put on a really, really tremendous, exciting, dynamic matchup that was certainly one of, if not my match of the night.
Yeah, I think they have like a combined like 4 years experience,
It's mad.
something like that.
Absolutely mad.
Yeah, my second favorite match from the show. And shout out to Sunny for referencing Senka's match in Vegas with Chris Hero, which I
Hell
was
yeah.
like, yeah, hell yeah. But this match starts out big lockup. We got waist lock exchanges. We got some great ground wrestling. That doesn't last too long until they start throwing the bombs. We get the forearms back and forth, which Sarah gets the better of. And I like the strategy here where like Senka's like, ooh, I'm losing this strike exchange. So what does Senka do? Come off the rope, shoulder tackle, shoot pin, shoot pin, shoot
Those
pin.
shoot pins are amazing.
And I actually watched this match twice. I enjoyed it so much. And towards the end, when she's doing the shoe pins against Sunny, made a great reference where it's just like Sanka may as well weigh 500 pounds at this point because when you're constantly doing these shoot pins, it's taking a lot out of you. And then I was like, yeah. And then Sari changes it up, and then Sari does a north south shoot pin on the Sanka. I was like, okay, now we're doing different variations of shoot pins. See, folks, not you don't need to be doing like the sky twister plus into the fourth row. As cool as that is, sometimes you just need a shoulder tackle on 19 variations of a shoot pin. It all works. I mean, if you do that, I'm still going to be entertained by it. Again, Will Ospreay, I think, is the best wrestler on the planet. But still, Rob, this match was absolutely my jam. Sari with the 619 springboard dropkick combination, but she hits two of them. So I like how she hits that combination. Then, like, no, I'm going to do the springboard Joshi dropkick for a second time. I thought was great. That sends Senka to the apron. We get an apron fight between the two. Senka wins the apron fight, goes for the brainbuster on the apron, Rob, because why not? But Sari escapes, and Sari hits this absolutely insane German suplex onto the apron. We're really upping the intensity here. Back in the ring we go. Sari hits a big spine buster and then hits locomotion gut wrench suplex, not one, not two, but tree, as we say in Scranton, for a 2 count. Sari goes to the top rope for a top rope frog splash. No water in the pool, as Joey Styles would say. I thought that was great. And then Senka hits a big slam. Then Senka's like, I'm going to try that splash. Sari's just like, oh wait, Sanka rolled out. I'm gonna roll out. So I like how they're trying to one up each other with the chain wrestling, with the shoulder tackles, with the shoe pins, and even some of the high flying stuff, which obviously that's not their bread and butter, but we think Sari gets so good at it so quick. And Sanka actually has been winning a lot of her matches in Marvelous with that top rope splash, because we do watch all of her stuff in Marvelous over at Talk Joshi. Excellent stuff there. Then we get into a forum exchange. We're ending. We're getting towards the end. This is like Act 3 of the match. So we get into this almost the same forum exchange that we had in the beginning, but it's the end. So now we have to up the intensity. So what do? Insane, stiff slap exchange. These slaps that Sari and Sanka exchange here towards the end, building towards their finish, echoed an Oda Ward. Excellent stuff there. Sari finally hits the frog splash, scoring a 2 count. Sanka comes back with a pair of lariats, a couple shoot pins back and forth, and then Sanka goes for the lariat one more time, but Sari counter wrestlers is able to duck the lariat, lock in the quarter Nelson, and then roll Sanka through with the Aoki clutch for the 3 count. 4.25 stars. And I liked how it wasn't like a definitive end, even though it was very violent. It was like, I got you on that one. Let's run it back again. We talked about like Chi and Rhea Sato. Want to see that match ran back again. These two, I just think are going to be wrestling forever. And at this point, Rob, ultimately, who wins? Us, the fans. We'll be keeping a tally when we're on Marigold Standard episode 4000. We're like, Sanka was up 59-42 in this rivalry review. Again, this was great. My second favorite match from the show. 4.25 stars, Mr. Rob Goodwin.
Where's the tag match? The tag match has disappeared, but never mind. Twin Star title matches, the big catharsis of this show, Mr. Turner. Koki Amare, Chika Goto, finally achieving Marigold Gold by defeating Darkness Revolution. And it's a great moment. It's a fantastic moment. Really, really good match. Really good match. But it's all about seeing Koki after all those injuries, after, 2 really big injuries, the ACL, the shoulder, seeing Chika Goto after randomly at the end of the Corrigan show, them inserting the "oh, you're fat" comment, which don't do that. But great moment to see them both, 2 of the hardest working people on the roster with those belts, thoroughly deserved.
Yeah, the reason why they cut that promo, in my opinion, not that I'm only to touch upon just for a second. I mentioned it last week when I did the Marigold Standard. It's because now you want Chika Goto and Koki Amare to kick their ass even more, because they're the pure heels. It's not like it's babyface versus babyface or they're tweeners. It's just like, oh, that's awful. And now I really want to see you get your ass kicked. And they got their ass kicked. Rob, the bell rings in the darkness. You believe this? They jumped the baby faces, and then we have a brawl. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Misa, by the way, Misa Matsui, phenomenal gear as well. Everybody looked great.
Everyone did look fantastic. Yeah,
looked really terrific. Misa hits the second rope double foot stomp. We get the basement drop kick to Chika Goto. Great teamwork from Goto and Koki Amare. I like how we had a little bit of heat on Chika Goto, makes the hot tag to Koki Amare. A little bit of heat on Koki Amare, makes the hot tag to Chika Goto. Like, none of these heats were really drawn out. It was like, let's do a little bit of both. Each of them are going to get a little heat, a little opportunity to sell because of the way the story was built up, and each of them are going to get an opportunity to make a hot tag and make their comeback and bail each other out. Like, there was points where it looked like Koki Amare just getting battered by the tag champs. And again, obviously, Chiaki and Misa Matsui, in kayfabe sense, they're the best tag team in this company because they're holding the belts. So they would do great teamwork on a Chika Goto, and then Koki Amare would come in and she would hit, like, I think she hit like the Buzz Sawyer style power slam. And then later on in the match, we get a double teamwork onto Koki Amare, and Chika Goto would come in with the big boots, the big forearms, and that big spinning side slam. We do get the Tower of Doom spot. So now we're getting into the third act of this match, because that's kind of like your big crescendo where you have the crowd at a certain point. That's always your big high spot. We get double super kicks to Chika Goto. Koki Amare comes in, just big boots Chiaki right in the face, getting that. Chiaki hits a big power bomb onto Koki Amare for the 2 count. We've seen Chiaki win a lot of matches over the last year and change with that Liger bomb, but does not put away Koki Amare here. I believe she won in Cork and Hall the week prior with that. So the audience is conditioned for that to be a finish. But Koki Amare, in the words of the late great Ozzy Osbourne, will never say die. The referee gets pulled, Rob. Accidental chair shot to Chiaki. Oh no. And then we see Koki Amare come in with the Archika Goto comes in with a chair. And for a split second, I was like, she gonna turn. We're kind of conditioned with this darkness revolution and hate stuff where it's just like it doesn't make sense, but sometimes they pull the trigger anyway. Eventually, though, the accidental chair shot hits Chiaki. Koki Amare and Koki Amare and Chikagoto take out Misa Matsui. And then this should be their tag finisher. They hit this choke slam backdrop combination to Chiaki, and then Koki Amare hits the Admiral Fist butterfly, putting away Chiaki. New tag champs. Great match, great story, simple story. Even though I do like how they tweaked it with little heat on both wrestlers and a hot tag to both wrestlers. I really thoroughly enjoyed that. And just when you think maybe Darkness was going to pull out the win by pulling the referee with a chair shot, it was well scouted. It was a move well scouted. And then that great finish with the back-to-back with the choke slam backdrop suplex combination and Koki Amare with the Amethyst butterfly smash. It was the perfect ending. It was a really great match. And once you're at the Tower of Doom spot, you're like, now we need to take the proper steps to take it home because the big spot, psychology, the heels are going to cheat. Oh no, ha ha, backfired, big bump, big splash, finish, big pop, beautiful. 16 minutes I thought was the perfect time. 4 stars for me, my friend. This is this great classic tag team action at its absolute finest.
So, who, in your opinion, now obviously we haven't got challengers at the moment for those belts. Who would you like to see be those first challengers?
Killer Bees. It's got to be the Killer Bees, buddy. I think that's the way to go.
Killer Bees. Yeah, always Killer Bees. I'm with you, bro.
I think that I know they're not part of Marigold, but Magenta, because that was the match we were supposed to have last year. If you remember, Magenta.
Point it was. Yeah.
So as far as the V1 goes, why not do Shino and Yuki Yamazaki? Why not do that? Why not do Hummingbird and Naomi Ishikawa?
Yeah, true.
That's what I would do. Give everybody an opportunity. I would have once Koki comes back from injury, I would have them defend them twice a month, 3 times a month. Why not? You need to fill out cards, championship matches, because they're gimmick matches. It's always like, oh, there's a chance for a title change. Run this one back. This was great. Run this one back. Run Misa and Rhea Sato. Run Nagisa and Chiaki. I think there's a lot they can do. But while I'm waiting for the injury bug to hopefully, Rob, fingers crossed, go away, I'd have these 2 defend the belts on every other show. Why not? It gives people more of a reason to buy a ticket to see said show because there's a possibility they may see a title change, and that it will always be something that draws people in.
It's worth pointing out as well that with Arini Yamanaka currently out, we don't have the 3D Trios titles either. So that's 3 titles that are currently out of commission for Marigold. So I have a feeling we might be seeing a workload for Twin Towers, which is why I asked who you think would be the first challengers. I can see it potentially being Nagisa Nozaki and Rhea Sato. Just, revenge for their fallen comrades. But again, we will see. We move on to the main event, Matt. A celebration of Utami, if you will, with some excellent wrestling involved. And do you know what? It was the singles match we thought we were going to have. Mai Sakurai and Utami. We ultimately did end the match with that singles match. And unfortunately, it's a case of, that would have been great, but obviously, they were dealt a fairly crap hand and did what they could with it. Still a really enjoyable match, a great send-off for Utami post-match, a really lovely celebration. And I think it's the right result that Mai Sakurai goes over here.
Yeah, we thought that's the way it was going to be. There was a lot of really great stuff coming out of this. I mentioned before, I may mention again, I want to see Miko Ano and Takumi Roha the worst way. Styles make fights. They work both the similar style. I think it'd be great business for both Marigold and Marvelous. Maddie Morgan and Mirai, Rob, it would seem like, because considering the fact that they're not full-time members of this roster, they really took it upon themselves to be like, hey, I know you don't work here full-time and I'm leaving. I'm going back home in a few months. Do you want to maybe steal the show in the middle? And they're like, yeah, sure, why not? And those two are terrific. Again, my Sakurai put her up there with Misa Matsui and Yuki Yamazaki and Naoi Ishikawa for great gear. Like completely new look with that pink and purple gear. I thought she looked so fantastic. Miko Ano with new gear as well, adding into that aura. Again, I just hope that it connects more with the audience and she becomes in what is to me appointment viewing because I love Miko Ano. And Utami, we've been making mention of this the last two shows. I'll make mention again here. We've known she was leaving for the past 4 or 5 weeks, give or take. And by no means at any of these matches she dogged. Every one of her matches has been great. The single with Shino, the single with Sarah Yamaoka, the tag stuff opposite Darkness. And Utami went out with a bang. Utami in this match made it like appointment viewing of these are all great wrestlers. Maddie Morgan. I think Maddie's only what 18, 19? Do I have that right,
Yeah,
Rob?
18.
I have a daughter older than her. That's crazy. She's the future pro wrestling. Takumi Roja is one of the best going, considering the fact. Remember when Takumi was having those problems with her knees and she really didn't wrestle for like a year, year and a half? She's definitely been back full force the last year and change. Mirai's fantastic. Again, possibly the next pro wrestling Noah Joshi champion. And May Sakurai is going to be one that is going to put the company on her back. And I think she's going to do great stuff going into the summer. And again, Miko Ano is one of my favorite wrestlers in all of wrestling. With that being said, Utami was the best wrestler in this match. She made an appointment. She had great stuff with Sakurai. Her stuff with her and Miko Ano flashback to their two championship matches. Then her and Mirai, you're like, oh yeah, that's right. They remember their lead up and their match at this show last year because I think it was Shine Forever last year that they met for the red belt, right? I'm almost positive. They had some really great outings. Takumi and Mirai as well. It's a match I'd want to see. And then the finish was just great. How Sakurai, Mirai, and Miko Ano, they individually take out Maddie Morgan. They individually take out Takumi Roja. We do see the Goodwin elbow drop every time that we get English commentary and she hits it. I'm like, I know you guys know what it is. Just say it. Just say it.
Say the words.
A Goodwin elbow drop. But I like it how it had to take pure murder to not literally, folks. Before you're, yeah, it had to take darn
You
near
didn't miss that. It's fine.
It almost took near murder to take out Utami. Maybe the hardest lariat we have ever seen Mirai hit Utami with, which is saying something.
Absolutely brutalized her with that.
And then Miko Ano was just like, hey, I'm the champion. I need to hit something. She hits the Styles Clash, and then Sakurai's like, I need the rub. I need the rub. So she hits her with the power bomb. It was almost like Himika's concussion bomb. That's the way that I felt it. It really seemed like she went into the Himika bed. We've seen Sakurai use that from time to time, but I liked how it's like, okay, we know Sakurai, she has the STK, her version of the STO. She has the STF, which is her go-to. Obviously, the Goodwin elbow drop should be her nuclear finish. Like,
Always.
nobody gets up. But now we're adding in this concussion bomb. So this, basically running power bomb, which I think she should add to her arsenal because it was great. Puts away Utami. This was phenomenal, buddy. 4.5 stars. This was one of my favorite matches from what was an absolutely loaded week of Joshi wrestling. Talked about in the Stardom cast how we had this, Tokyo Joshi Pro, AEW Double or Nothing, and the Stardom show as well. This was one of my favorite matches of the entire week. This was phenomenal. Again, this show, considering all the issues they had with the injuries, start to finish, what a really brilliant, enjoyable show. Fantastic stuff. Again, 4.5 stars. I thought everybody was terrific. Again, Miko Ano, Takumi Roja. I'm a dreamer, Rob Goodwin. I'm a dreamer. I dream big.
Now, obviously, before we get into the last show that we're going to be talking about, or the last show we're going to be going over, there is the small, very small, point of the winner of our predictions league for Shine Forever. And once again, Matt Turner, we have two winners. We did announce that Mr. Adkins and Berry 420 were the winners of our Queen's Dynasty Predictions League show. And we have two winners again, Matt Turner. And I think it's only fair that we reveal those winners right here on the Marigold Standard. Are you ready, good sir?
Done. I'm ready.
The winners are Berry 420 and Mr. Matt Turner. Matt Turner got 14 correct, as did Berry 420. Berry 420, by the way, building a damn near unassailable early lead at the top of the World of Joshi Predictions League. By the way, I came second with 13, which really annoyed me, and I can't remember what it was that I got wrong. But fair play, Matt. I take my hat off to you. Obviously, Barry 420, I salute you as well. Now, in terms of our individual, Matt, in terms of our individual performances, we are currently locked. We are tied 38 points each.
Ooh. Now you know who Barry 420 is, right?
I do. It's Mike.
Yeah, yeah. He actually he sent me a message earlier today. He told me where to get tickets for All In once we decide to get tickets. Because he told me that's where the closest bars are. That's what we need to know. Yes. Yes,
That
he
is
did
the
tell me.
cat. There we go. There we go. Is he?
Level
Is he?
two.
Is he going
Level
to all then?
yeah, yeah. He said because
Oh, we'll have to meet up with him then.
he's gonna be at Pro Wrestling Eve. He's like, hey, I heard you got tickets. He's like, I'll see you there. But recommended level 2 at Wembley. It's club seats with chilled bars and bigger seats. I don't care about bigger seats, Rob. I just need a chilled bar.
I do
So
like a chill, but you'll have to remind me because I will forget, brother. I'm not gonna lie.
we'll figure. I got. You know what to do? Look at all these tablets I have over here. These are all my to-do lists and things writing down. Yeah, I'm old school. There's literally I literally have to get a comic book short box for my tablets because of everything that I write between this stuff and Joe Sheet. So I got you. What I'm trying to say, buddy, is I got you.
Okay, I'll leave that to you then.
I got you. You don't worry about anything. You just get me there and get me to Birmingham. That's it.
I'll get you to Birmingham. I'll get you to London. You can sort the other bits. Now, in terms of the predictions league, 4 shows in now. Barry 420, Mike, 43 points at the top of the league. He leads Dirty Fall, who is on 41, and then the next 7 places down are separated by just 7 points, to the point, Matt Turner, where myself, you, Mr. Adkins are all tied on 38. Steve Kaklamanos is on 36, just below us. Mida then 35. Sayonara Spaghetti Sauce 32, and Brandon Teal on 31. So the next 7 down are all separated by 7 points. So it's all to play for as we go into Stardom. I'm not going to shout it because Kirsty might be in bed. The conversion.
Okay.
And
you should either shout it or whisper it.
Okay. The conversion. And Summer Sun Princess as well. They will be the next 2 pay-per-views that we do for the Predictions League. Man, let's talk about this show very briefly. So Marigold ran Shinjuku on the previous house at Shinjuku Face. I've already been through this. We talked about it at the opening of the show. I'm not going to beat a dead horse. Obviously, the main event to actually give you the opportunity to give your match ratings. So let's go through these then. We opened with a tag match. Nagisa Takibana and Kamomo Minami defeated AI and Yuki Yamazaki. Nagisa pinning Lady AI with the triple jump crossbody in 12 minutes and 8 seconds.
3 3/4 stars.
3-way match. Shoko Kashino defeating Hummingbird and Megaton. Shoko getting the win over Hummingbird with the diving body press in 7 minutes and 5 seconds.
3.5 stars.
8-woman tag, Donna's Revolution team, Misa Matsui, Chiaki, Nagisa Nozaki, and Ria Sato defeated Natsumi Shozuki, Mai Sakurai, Angel Hayes, and Naomi Ishikawa. Misa Matsui pinning Naomi Ishikawa with the best flying knee in the business in 12 minutes and 44 seconds.
4 stars.
Tag team match in your semi-main event. Nightshade and Jesse Jackson of Marvelous defeated the team of Miko Ano and Chika Goto. Nightshade pinning the Marigold World Champion clean with the neck-hanging buster in 12 minutes and 58 seconds, setting up a world title match down the line, which we'll be talking about shortly. And then, obviously, we've already talked about... Oh, sorry, Matt, your match rating?
3 3/4 stars. And real quick, I do want to say on Sunday Girls just dropped 2 shows, and on the show, I think it's the 22nd or 23rd, Jesse Jackson wrestles, I believe it was Zonaz. I just watched it today. Phenomenal. Nice seeing Jesse Jackson starting making the rounds in Joshi, because I really know very little of her, and I'm really impressed on what I'm seeing.
Yeah, really, really, really good. Really like the team of her and Nightshade. And then, of course, the match we've already talked about. Matt, you're not going to give your rating for this one.
No.
BEW Women's Championship. Maddie Morgan defeating Sari Amoka via referee stoppage in 4 minutes and 41 to become the 11th, BEW Women's Champion.
It's my
So
tenable. I have to name the first 10 BEW Women's Champions.
it is not. Now, I'm not going to lie. I haven't got you attainable this time because I didn't think my Wi-Fi would withstand it. It's already cut out twice. I will apologize, by the way. I think my Wi-Fi cut out whilst I was going through the quick results.
It cut out right when we started talking about it. I was getting ready to text you that I couldn't hear you. It was about just to give time, because I know on the editing, Rob, it was about 1 hour 42 minutes in. Once you went over the results, you were crystal clear. So teamwork, buddy. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Fantastic. Can't wait to be doing that tonight. Going to start then, Matt, with what might be your match of the two shows. You were so hyped about this match. Komomo Minami, Nagisa Nozaki versus Yuki Yamazaki and the rookie Lady AI. What was it about this match that got you so gosh darn excited?
Fundamentals, footwork, timing. There wasn't a misstep. They didn't go too fast. There wasn't a missed beat. There was psychology. They took their time to selling. Again, the fact that these four wrestlers have maybe combined 5, maybe 6 years total. Like if if you discredit the injuries, probably right there. The fact that they made it work, and it's not like AI teams with Yuka all the time or Komomo teams with Nagisa. There was teamwork, there were singles matches. There's a lot of stuff that came out of this. That you watch this match, it's fundamentals, fundamentals. I always, when I'm so blessed to teach wrestling, I always say, you need to do headlock before head scissors. Know your wrist lock before a wrist watch. And there's a lot of great wrist locks, Rob. I love a great wrist lock. There was some just excellent stuff here. Again, Lady AI, her footwork has gotten so much better. Her timing has got so much better. Not only that, she like kind of takes the heat here a little bit from Nagisa and Komomo. Her comeback, like I believed in her fiery comeback, which one, she's probably the smallest competitor in this match. Two, she's obviously has the least experience, and three, she's got the mask. Sometimes it's hard to get emotion and connect with the audience when you have your face covered. You can see it in her eyes, in her body language on the fire up, which the crowd got really into. She had a great backslide for 2.9 count, which the crowd obviously bid on the falsy, but it was that triangle double jump crossbody from Nagisa, pinning Lady AI for 3 count. Again, 3 3/4 stars. This was great. And again, this youth movement from Marigold has got me really excited. And now throw Lady AI in the mix with the Yukas, with the Shinos, with the Nagisa Takabanas. I thought that was terrific. And again, what I really enjoyed most about it is that Lady AI was getting a little better, a little better, a little better, and then all of a sudden she just jumped up. She just, like, in my eyes, really jumped up after this performance, which I think is a credit to these 3 ladies putting this match together and getting Lady AI over, which ultimately then she eats the fall. Again, I thought this was terrific, and it makes you really excited for the youth movement, the current youth movement in Dream Star fighting Marigold.
The next match you wanted to talk about was the 8-woman tag. And I can only assume that you want to talk about this match because of the best damn flying knee strike in the business winning it.
Mika Wada just walked in my room. Really I mean, everybody was great in this match, but Misa Matsui, it was like, here's my first match after losing the title. How can I get myself over? I'll just be a great wrestler. Misa Matsui wrestled this match like with something to prove. We say it all the time. I mean, if we're lining up challengers for Miko Ano, obviously we have an outsider in Nightshade coming in to be the next challenger we'll talk about in a moment. Why aren't we doing Misa Matsui? She's over. She's great. She knows how to connect with the audience. I think Misa Matsui and Miko Ano in a Corkin would be something that would really drop. Put that with a great undercard. I think that's a really way to go. And that's why I would like to see, because I think Misa Matsui, as great as she was as a tag wrestler, her and Chiaki were a great tag team. There's something really special and untapped with Misa Matsui that I think they can really tap into. Her stuff with Sakurai was terrific. Again, Sakurai is probably your big kind of main eventer, her Miko Ano during this time period. Natsumi Shozuki, again, very violent side we're seeing towards her. I really like the stuff with Angel Hayes and Ria Sato. Nagisa Nozaki really pummeled Naoi Ishikawa. Naoi Ishikawa had a really great comeback, but again, for me, it was just the explosive, great wrestling from Misa Matsui and how she uses that to connect with the audience. See it all the time in the indies. You get these great athletes, these young kids come in and they can do all the moves, but does it mean anything because they don't know how to connect with the audience? Like that's all great. You're giving me all sizzle, but no steak. Like I need to be able to connect that with the audience. Jim Ross reference. If you just listen to Jim Ross's podcast, you will learn random things. Jim Ross is a genius. Anywho, I thought Misa was great here. You're absolutely right. I know you kind of threw a joke out there, but that really was one of the reasons why I enjoy this match so much. Is I'm excited to see what Misa Matsui does post championship run. Again, with all the holes in the roster to fill, why aren't we tapping Misa Matsui? I hope they do, buddy. I hope they do. 4 stars.
Also want to just touch on this semi-main event as well, obviously, because we do have our next challenger for the Marigold World Championship in Nightshade. I was lucky enough to be at the Pro Wrestling Eve show where Nightshade wrestled Nyla Beast. Oh my God, Nyla Rose. What is wrong with me?
Nyla Beast, she's the native beast. We got you. You got there. You got there, buddy.
Nyla Grace. What the hell? Wrestled Nyla Rose, and it was fantastic. Really, really enjoyable match. Nightshade can really, really go. A really, really solid pro wrestler. And we've been quite lucky in Marigold where we've had monsters challenge for that red belt, specifically Bozilla. And we've had 2 of the best red belt defenses. You know, you look at Sari versus Bozilla at Korakuen, which was absolutely sensational. You look at Utami versus Bozilla, which was also really, really good. Even someone like Nanae, who is obviously a power wrestler more than an athletic or speedy wrestler, no disrespect obviously meant to Nanae there. But, you know, they've been good matches. Marigold have a good history with powerful wrestlers going for that championship. And I think Nightshade and Miko Ano could do something really, really special together.
Not only that, but you have to understand Miko Ano, what she's going to have to do to win this match. A lot of strikes, and because Nightshade is bigger and stronger. So you're going to see not only that, but the strikes are really going to have to count. She's going to have to really beat down the monster in Nightshade. Nightshade was really dominate. It wasn't like she got a fluke win or the referee got bumped or she did a missed or she
crushed her.
Yeah, like or she hit it with the belt. It was she just steamrolled right through her. And then it's just like everyone's thinking like, wow, she just dominated our champion. She's like, hey, I want a shot at the title. And now you have your underdog babyface Miko Ano that is a ass kicker going up against Nightshade. And I think it's gonna be great. Nightshade is really great. She's even better when she's in the ring with the Joshis, as most wrestlers are, because Joshis are just phenomenal. I'm excited for this championship opportunity for her, and I'm really excited for the amount of insane strikes Miko Ano is going to have to provide in this match in order to get the win. They didn't announce the date for this, did they yet, Rob?
No, they did not.
Okay, maybe they're just trying to work out Nightshade's schedule. But my guess would probably be at maybe the next Corkin. I think that'd be the good way to go. But again, this is really fun. Chica Goto was great here, and again, Jesse Jackson, more of her at Marigold. Kudasai.
I mean, just looking at Marigold's schedule, obviously there's the 176 box show, which I'm going to go through in a minute on the 30th of May. They're then in Yokohama on the 6th of June, Shinjuku Face again on the 9th of June. They're in Korea City, Ioi Hall in the 13th, Gifu on the 14th, then back at Korakuen on the 20th of June. So that could be potentially where we see Miko Ano versus Nightshade, if Nightshade is still in the country at that point. If not, why not run it at Shinjuku Face? That'd certainly bump your price up, your tickets up.
Yeah, good thinking, buddy. See, smart guy. Smart guy you are.
I don't know. Looking ahead then on the 30th, which is tomorrow as we record Saturday, Marigold will be back in Osaka at the 176 box. The card that was initially announced has been changed slightly due to the absence of Koki Amore, but the foundation of the card remains the same, and that is as follows. Naoshikawa versus AI. You've then got Hummingbird and the debuting Nanas as well, taking on the Darkness Revolution team of Misa Matsui and Ria Sato. Natsumi Shozuki and Chika Goto will be taking on Nagisa Nozaki and Chiaki of the Darkness Revolution. Six-woman tag, we've got Shino, Megaton, and Yuki Yamazaki versus Komomo Minami, Nagisa Takibana, and Shoko Kashino. And then in your main event, this is quite a main event. Angel Hayes and Maddie Morgan versus Miko Ano and Mai Sakurai. That I am very, very much looking forward to.
Yeah, it should be. It looks like, again, a solid card. Again, despite with all the injuries, the wrestling's still going to be great. And I think they're going to give you a solid tag match to finish that one off. Sakurai's fantastic. Miko Ano, she's the leader of this company. Maddie Morgan and Angel Hayes have been great in individual performances, but where I've been most impressed with them is in tag performances. And Maddie Morgan just a few weeks ago had a really great singles match against Miko Ano, so we know there's chemistry there. But I think that tag match is really going to open up a lot of eyes here for all four of these ladies.
There's only one thing left to do, Matt Turner, and that is, of course, to have a gaze at Julia.
Rob Goodwin, no Julia on our screens. However, I do have a report to go through. I'm not going to lie. I was going to do this at the end of the Stardom cast for Iro and Kyrie Watch, but you were already very upset because of your internet.
I was.
So, Darren Chatton always gives me the cues on a gaze at Julia and and Kyrie Watch. So my man Darren sent me a message earlier this week. As you like to know how the football is going, LOL.
Yes, Matt is obviously desperate to know the scores, Darren. Thank you for that.
The season finished yesterday, and Rob's team lost, and they finished 12th in the league. And my team won and finished 7th and qualified for the European football. I do have a question about that. I will ask.
That's fine. Okay.
Question for you. They qualified for European football for the first time in 53 years. So in summary, my team played Rob's team 2 times and beat them the 2 times and finished
deservedly so as well. It wasn't a fluke. They deservedly beat us. We were crap.
And finished 5 places above them in the league and made history for qualifying for European football. I'm sure Rob would love to hear about that. And then I said, because I don't know too much, so I'm asking questions.
Of course, obviously.
12th.
Knowledge is power.
That's right. 12th out of how many teams? Laughing my ass off. 20 teams. Bear in mind they finished 5th, meaning your team finished 5th last season. So 12th is terrible. So
it is indeed. Thanks for that, Darren. Appreciate that. Do you know what?
At Rob's football team. That's what we call that.
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm going to take it like a man. Again, Sunderland were far better than us for the vast majority of the season. They had a little bit of a dip, but aside from that, we're far better than us. I think if we'd have beaten them in either derby, it would have been it wouldn't have been fair. It wouldn't have been a fair reflection of the game. We've had a very, very, very poor season. We've got very, very good players that have underperformed spectacularly to the point where one of them has already been sold to somebody else. So that's quite impressive considering the season only ended last week. But if he doesn't want to play, good riddance. But yeah, it's not been a great. I mean, even when we've won, we haven't looked good. And we've dropped. There was a stat the other day. Over the course of the season, we've dropped the most points from winning position of anyone in the league. So when we are 1-0 up, there's no chance we're going to stay 1-0 up. The other team is going to score 1 or 2 when we're going to end up drawing or losing. 27 points we've lost from winning positions. And someone calculated if we'd have stayed winning when we were winning, 27 points, we'd have been, I think, 3rd or 4th in the league. So yeah, quite a catastrophic season.
158.20 is when you froze, only for a few seconds.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Oh, I know it goes like a big circle. So I'll edit that out. The people will have no idea.
Two quick questions for you, but I got about 5 minutes before I gotta beautify myself for my day.
Shouldn't take you long.
It really doesn't. But anywho. I had to throw some gel in my hair. I asked Amber what cologne she wants me to wear because she's very sensitive. So anyway, So 2 questions. One, how did one qualify for the European Football League? Is that like the NFL playoffs or the NBA playoffs? Is that what that is? Or it's a completely different league? Like you've done so well, you go into a different league. I'm really because I've heard you talk about that over the last few years. And I'm just
Don't
really
worry, we'll be talking about it next season, buddy.
Well,
Don't you worry about it.
I'm just confused how that works. Like the sports that I know, obviously, Rob, I'm gonna tell you a little secret. The sport I follow the most is pro wrestling. Believe it or not.
Wow.
But
Okay.
but obviously, like the NFL, I watch. The NBA, I used to watch quite a bit in the '90s because I was a diehard Jordan fan. And baseball, I watch every now and again. So if you finish at the top of your standings, you go into the playoffs, and then then the World Series or the NBA Finals. So what's the European League? Like Darren's like my team qualified for the European League for the first time in 50 some odd years. Like, what is that, the playoffs? Or like, explain that to me. I don't understand that.
Couldn't have had me explain this when Newcastle qualified, could you? So basically, what happens is the top couple of teams from all of the European leagues, you've got England, France, Germany, the Netherlands, Belgium, Spain, Portugal. Their top teams, if they qualify within a certain amount of positions in their league, so there's, I think it's 5 in the Premier League, and then I think it's 3 in Portugal, blah, 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 blah. They get put into an additional cup competition. So they'll still stay in the Premier League. It's an additional cup competition where they will play teams from other countries.
Oh.
So it's an additional thing. But yeah, so there's also, just to confuse everyone, there is 3 different European competitions as well. So in terms of the Premier League, the top 4 or the top 5 this season qualify for what's called the Champions League, which is a top European competition that only like the top 5 are able to get into, which Darren hasn't qualified for, and we did last season. Sorry, Darren. Genuinely, I am quite happy for Sunderland because they did deserve it. And then I think it was 6th and 7th qualified for what's called the Europa League, which is basically a different European competition, just a step down from the Champions League. And then there's the Conference League below that, where I think 8th position qualifies for that. So I don't know if that's helped or clarified anything, but basically they've got an additional competition where they're going to have nice little European away days, playing in nice countries like, Portugal and Spain, and less well-known countries like Kazakhstan. But yeah, there you go. Well done, Darren. You've done me there. I can only hope that your team are exhausted next season and we batter you 9-0.
Last question, buddy. When I come over to visit you guys in England, is it still going to be football season? Like, are we going to be able to watch a game together?
Oh no, I best not touch it, actually. It's already died twice. So the Premier League, I think, starts the week before you get to us. It's either the week before or the week you get to us. Now, obviously, on that Saturday, I'm not going to be in London. I'm going to be somewhere else at that wedding. So you're going to be in London on that Saturday. But I know that friend of the show, Andy, who obviously we were in Japan with, obviously Mike is going to be in London as well. So you're not going to be short of people who I'm sure will show you football. And Andy, big up Andy, is a Newcastle fan as well. So I'm sure they'll find you a sports bar that you can sit in and watch a football match.
The reason why I was asking, I would love to watch a game with you so you can kind of teach me. Like, the only thing I know is you kick it.
I don't think you would.
No. This would be fun.
You would, mate.
But then what I would do is I would, if you were to teach, me, I just the rules, teach me the rules, then maybe, I don't know if she's up here yet, I can have Amber teach Kirsty her famous marinara sauce. Maybe that's the trade-off, or some of the desserts. Yeah, or the desserts thing. Yeah, maybe that's the trade-off. See where I was going?
I love it.
You might have to go on YouTube and put a game on from like 1980. I don't care.
Absolutely. We'll just find one. We'll just find one from somewhere. But yes, so that's yeah. I'm glad we've spent the end of the podcast talking about how crap my team's been this season. Thank you, Darren. Thank you for saying that as well.
And chocolate in Reese's cheesecake or whatever it is, the thing she made.
That is very true. Right, let's get you off the podcast, bro, so that you can go and beautify yourself and enjoy your meal. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening, apart from you, Darren, obviously. I'm joking, brother. I'm joking, kind of. Thank you for listening. We truly do appreciate every single one of you. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the podcast on the podcast app of your choosing. We are literally everywhere. comment or a 5-star review really helps us out as well. Obviously, we changed feeds, so if you could give us another one, that would be grand. World of Joshi. You can also find us on Patreon, patreon.com/World of Joshi, where you can get all of these episodes ad free for as little as $1 solitary dollar a month, as well as getting entry into the Predictions League challenge and a whole host of bonus content as well. You can find us on social media at WOJ Wrestling. You can talk to me on Twitter at Real Rob Goodwin. Matt Turner, sign us off, good sir.
Folks, questions, comments, suggestions, anything you need from me, Matt Turner OF on the Instagram and Twitter is the easiest, fastest, and bestest way to get a hold of me. Don't forget to follow me over there on TikTok, M Turner over there as well. Or you can shoot me an email. I got not one, but 2 email addresses you can get a hold of me. The first one is matt@worldofjoshi.com. And the other one is, of course, Rob Goodwin, the Stardom Cast 22 at gmail.com. Folks, that'll wrap it up for this episode. We greatly appreciate your support. Can't do without you. Like I always say, just not my podcast. It's our podcast. Because we're all together, everybody's different. Everybody's special.